Boom. And we're live. Fingerhut, baby. What's up, man? It's been a long fucking time in the making, man. I
Yeah,
called this the Wednesday special with the spiritual guru. Because I remember every time we would hang out, you'd always have fucking great advice to give to me. And
it's
I really took
hey,
it to heart, man, honestly. I don't know if you realize it, but dude, you always had great advice to give to me that I would always talk to my wife Christina about, and I would always apply in my life.
I definitely gotten that from a few people over the years, but it's it's from doing a lot of the wrong things. It's not so much advice that I follow or I try to anyway, but it's mostly just from it's easier to tell somebody else what to do.
Mm-hmm. So how have you been, man? I haven't. I mean, I haven't speak. I haven't spoke to you in a while, man. How's everything?
Yeah, everything's good, man. Everything's good. Fucking enjoying life now. How about you?
Good. Just freaking working construction. I mean, you know what I mean. Just the freaking grind, and that's about it.
That's crazy, man. So I always forget you guys still around the block from Brits, or you're in Brighton Beach, right?
No, no. What? Well, where I'm living with my family. When my family is originally from Bensonhurst. We were
Oh,
yeah,
Bensonhurst.
stationed in
Go, you go
Bensonhurst, but
back
we're living with
or you
Christina. We're living in Babylon. It depends on my job location. If I'm closer to like let's say Brooklyn, I'm gonna stay with my family in Brooklyn, and if I'm
yeah,
closer to Long Island, I'll stay in Long Island. But now we're in Babylon.
I gotcha. How's the how's that crazy dog?
Dude, still fucking nuts, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. I remember come by, we used to smoke and shit, and he was running around like a maniac back there.
Oh hell yeah, dude, he's still fucking just as crazy as he is. I mean, right now I guess he's like 8 years old or something like that. But yeah, total nut job. Andre, remember Andre, right? He's working at the what you call the new stadium for the Islanders. I forgot the name of it.
Oh, what at the Belmont or
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
it's
yeah,
called.
yeah. Right by Belmont. Yeah, he's working over there. They're working like 7 days a week right now.
That's one of the few jobs that are.
Yeah. Yeah, I was telling him, I said, dude, I'm gonna do a podcast with you tonight, dude. He was excited because, dude, we fucking had so much fucking fun. Long Island, dude, it was
Sure.
freaking awesome, man.
That was great, man. We were up at the cabin.
Oh yeah, I remember freaking
Yeah,
So what
that's probably the
happened?
last time
Did he
I met you
scare you
guys.
or something? Did Andre scare you, telling you about like the abandoned cabins that we're gonna stay there or something like that?
No, Andre has not scared me. Andre's great, man. No, dude, remember we were, did we just smoke or I don't remember what it was. It's not so, maybe we were just drinking or whatever. I remember we went out there fucking walking around in the woods with like no lights and shit on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We did it. We did a lap in the trails. It's about like a 20 minute fucking walk. But dude, it spooks a lot of fucking people who are from like the city and shit. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
a lot of the people, like even when I came there, I remember it's Christina's place, and I remember the first time I had to stay by myself there overnight. Like, dude, I was so fucking freaked out because it's weird. Like, dude, I grew up in Brooklyn my whole life, but when I had to stay by myself in an upstate place outside in the woods, like the noises that I would hear, it would like play tricks on you. Your mind was playing tricks on you. You were so freaked out and not used to it.
so it's fun. I just got back. I don't know. Was it Sunday night I came back? My uncle retired and he bought his like dream place up in New Hampshire. It's like I don't know. It's like 100 acres or something surrounding it. So you're in the woods pretty good. And we have a hunting cabin upstate here, but up there it's a little further north, and there's some different animals and sounds that you don't hear down here.
Mm-hmm.
And sitting out there on the deck one night, we got all the lights off. You could see the Milky Way, fucking smoking a little bit, having a beer, and I hear these fucking noises coming from the woods that I never heard before. I know I've heard of like people mentioning them in videos and things before, but I never heard anything like this. It literally sounds like a little girl being murdered in the woods,
Oh shit.
like this little girl screaming and shit. And you know it's an animal, but you're like, what the fuck is that? And I wound up finding out it's this thing's called a Fisher cat. It's not an actual cat. It kind of looks like a weasel. It's this carnivorous weasel. And the sounds this thing makes, it literally sounds like somebody being murdered out there. And again, like I know that there's an animal, but I was fucking terrified of that sound because you don't know what the hell it is. You're like, why the hell would anything make a sound that sounds like a child being just like hacked up in the woods?
No, dude, absolutely. I had the same experience with a fox. I had no idea what the sound of a fox like screaming, I guess it's called, or howling, whatever the hell it is. I remember we were sitting around 10 years ago. Me and Christina were sitting around the like a campfire talking about like ghost stories and shit. And out of nowhere, I hear a sound of a woman screaming like she's being murdered. But
Yeah.
the sound of the woman that's screaming like she's being murdered has like a little bit of an animalistic sound to it. So it
Yep.
made me question it. But it has like a ah
Yeah.
like a sound like that,
I
but
really hear it.
what
You
was
know, you
that?
can't like it'll throw you for a loop, man. You
Yeah.
you can't believe you're actually hearing that.
I was talking actually yesterday with my friend Tim. You got any freaking ghost stories or anything like that you encountered, or like weird fucking experiences and shit?
Look, I don't have anything that I can go, okay, that was like a ghost, but yeah, I mean, of course, I have some. I have a few stories of a couple of things. I don't know if you ever remember. Did you ever meet our friend Max? Red hair, skinny. He was a wrestler. He was fucking jacked. I don't know if you ever met him,
I'm not sure.
but so he used to have this. He used to have this apartment in Bethpage, like on the other side of the tracks from where you guys are, like kind of behind the pool,
Hmm.
uh, by the school there, like one of the number streets. And he lived there, and a couple of our friends, like at different points, had rented the other bedroom in that basement. And he used to tell me all the time, like, this place is haunted, or like that he's seen fucked up shit. And we were in our early 20s, and we was always, we were always over there getting drunk and getting fucked up, whatever. And I do remember one night I come down there, and it was either just him or just him and another friend were there, but we were all kind of, like chilling for the night. So when you walk down, you know, um, in this basement, you walked into like this open room where in front of you is the living room. Just to the right of you is a kitchen, and then there's like a little bathroom behind the kitchen, and then in the back there's two bedrooms. So I remember we had put empty beer bottles up on the counter, and like not here, like as far back as they would go. So we put all these the empty beer bottles up there. They're all standing up. We go sit down on the couch in the living room, and I don't know, maybe 20 minutes go by. Some you hear literally like as if somebody pushed a beer bottle and rolled it off the counter. Smash. I hear that. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Don't think anything of it. And he's like, I'm telling you, this place is fucking, there's something going on in this place. She's like, no, man, the thing must have like knocked out. Now, I was just over there. I know that there was no beer bottle laying down that could have rolled off this way. Fucking happened a couple of times. And then you start to realize you're like, yeah, this guy's not messing around. Something's going on down here. So I remember later that night, I fucking pass out. And you ever have whether it's a dream or a nightmare, but it feels so real, like you're interacting with a person, and you're like, I swear to God, that there's this thing like near you, and you're trying to wake up. I
Absolutely.
just remember I had this feeling of this, I don't know, like this creepy woman, or I don't really remember what she looked like or anything, but like something was trying to tell my body to fucking wake up. Now I don't know if that's a coincidence or whatever, but beer bottles don't fucking fall over and roll themselves off the counter. That's all I can really say about that. But I mean it wasn't one, it was a few of them.
And especially that was inside the house, so it's not like the wind is blowing, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's not like an outside, like, okay, like if one happened, you could just kind of ignore it, even though like beer bottles that are standing up like this don't just fall over and roll. Like
Yeah, yeah.
it's not like the counter was like, not level or something like that. But that was pretty creepy. That was but I've never like seen something where I was like, oh, that's a ghost, or who knows what the fuck that was, but like there was nobody there that could have done that. We were all sitting next to each other on the couch, and that shit just happened. Like somebody was pushing these bottles off the fucking counter. I was like, yeah, it was like three of them. It's like, how can that even happen?
Yeah, exactly. I have, you know what I mean? I have no idea. But
No,
do you actually believe in ghosts yourself, or have you had experience yourself, not like just from that point, or like
no.
seen weird shit or anything like that?
It's an interesting question, but it's such a weird question because we accept that ghosts are these dead spirits, right? So, or at least the definition of it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how could you how could you say you believe in something that like there's been stories about, but you've never seen? So how can there's no evidence that a ghost is real. That doesn't mean that there's not something else going on, that maybe spirits can't communicate with you or something like that. But I mean, do I believe that there's dead people around going around like Casper and shit, just going like, no, but that doesn't mean that there's not some sort of communication between dead or maybe if it's not even dead, maybe there's just other life out there that communicates to you in a weird way like that. Who knows? I mean, I really don't know. I can't tell you that I believe in it, but I couldn't tell you that it's completely false either because I don't really know. But I mean, plenty of people have enough stories that'll make your skin crawl about shit. But how can you really confirm all those?
Yeah, exactly. I don't think you can, but it's a fun thing to think about. You know what I mean? And
No, well, I mean, on one hand, I guess it could be because say you lose a mother, a father, brother, sister, somebody really close to you. Yeah, it'd be nice to think that, oh, like this person still communicates with me. Um, I've definitely had people reach out to me and tell me they were mediums, that somebody was trying to get in contact with me. I mean, I have nothing like. Why would you go out of your way to tell somebody that like if you're lying, that's a pretty fucked up thing to lie about. Either that or you're telling the truth, and maybe somebody is, but just I can't communicate with the deceased. So how I mean how would I know?
what do you think? What is your belief of what do you think happens after we die, or what happened before we were born? To ourselves, not to like the universe, because the universe, I think, like it obviously existed before, and it's gonna exist after us. What do you think happens to, I guess, the viewer, who
Hmm.
is us, who is, I guess, like the conscience, you would call it?
Oh, jeez. I should have popped some edibles. Um, wow, I don't really know, man. Um,
Do you not
you
think
know,
about? I'm just interested in it. Is
no, I,
that?
I I think about that kind of stuff all the
Mm-hmm.
time, but maybe you know what? It's you can have 10 different people ask the same question but phrase it 10 different ways, and it'll make you think about it 10 different ways too,
Right.
which is kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. So again, like on one hand, right? You know what? How many people are on Earth? What, 7 billion or so, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, everything that you're made of, your DNA, like the molecules in your body and shit, like they're yours now. that like they belong to the universe, which is like everything that makes up the fucking, the calcium like that's in your bones, the carbon that's in you. I mean, everything has been in the universe since the second it existed, which is kind of crazy. So, on one hand, it's like, if the human beings just kept reproducing like and create, there's only a finite amount of people that can exist at one time, if you think about it, because there's only so much. I mean, obviously you would run out of space to make people, but there is a number where you can only have X amount of people living at one time, animals or whatever. There's only so many. The universe is is not filled with infinite resources.
But
It's
isn't
pretty,
it? Isn't
pretty
it?
it's pretty big, but it's not infinite. You know.
But isn't it? Do we not know like the size of it? I feel like the space is infinite and time is forever. So I feel like the possibilities. You know what I
Well,
mean?
it's actually not true. Time is not forever. You can't. They're well, technically it's space time, but it's not forever. It started when it started, and it goes till it goes.
What do you
Uh,
mean? What do you mean by that? I
well,
thought
like,
it's forever. I thought that this shit just has been happening forever.
so I mean, if you ever watched what's the show on the Science Channel that goes over all the space stuff? What the hell's it called? Oh, maybe it's the Universe, the one that Mike Rowe narrates. You ever watch that shit?
Never.
Such a cool show. If you ever get a chance, oh my god! Like they go into detail and explain everything, and it's all through like CGI. But they have like all these astrophysicists on commenting and
Hmm.
explaining to you in like layman's terms how the universe works. But there's
But hold on a second, like, dude, do these fuckers actually fucking know? It's like, dude, we have no fucking idea, man.
no, but these guys do know, and like and all these things, you can prove to yourself. That's the cool thing with a lot of stuff. It's not, I mean, obviously, yeah, take their word for it because they know what they're talking about. But you can prove to yourself. It's not like these guys aren't just throwing dartboards at shit. But there are certain things where they have like this is the best answer they can come up with, and so far they haven't been able to disprove it. That's a different thing. Some of these, some so even like the Big Bang, right? We know that the Big Bang happened, but they're not 1,000% sure of what happened before that. They figured out that you know the Big Bang could possibly be. All right, so now you have like you have black holes, right? And then they
Right.
suck on this mass, and once you go over like the event horizon, nothing can escape their way. So it's when a star collapses into like a supernova, that's when they create these supermassive black holes or whatever. So it's possible that our Big Bang was the collapsing of a star, and because the gravity is so fucking great in a black hole, it's possible that it sucked us into this new universe. So like black holes could be gateways into these other universes. You know, they haven't ruled that out. That's a completely possible and viable thing.
Yeah. Yeah, but then wouldn't that
Imagine
re-
that.
wouldn't that reinforce my idea of that the space is infinite and that time is forever if there are infinite universes? Like for me, you know what I don't understand is like the people where they talk about like parallel universe, where for example they're talking about like, oh, there's another Jonas in another universe that's doing something else. I'm like, dude, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But what for me, what makes sense is I was a diehard atheist before,
Yeah.
but when I was talking to my friend, actually, I've realized this when I was saying, that time is forever and space is infinite. I said it's like after you die, if time is forever and space is infinite, what is if there is no limit on time and the shit that can happen? There's no stopping me from existing again. Maybe not as Jonas, but as like reincarnating as something else. You know what I mean? because I always existed. Even before I was born, I existed. Let's say, like, as a sperm cell, or even when I die and I disconnect, my
Yeah.
body's still going to exist and I'm going to be my cells, you know? The question just is, what, you know what I mean?
Well,
What's the thing
that's the
that turns on the system? What's the thing that presses the start thing and then you just like become aware?
well, so I think the fascinating thing with that, I always think, is that, like as human beings, we're very curious and we need an answer for everything. And what if there is no answer? I mean, there has to be some sort of answer, but it might not be anything that we could ever get. You know, maybe there is no God, and there is no anything pressing a play button or a forward button where it like that. Maybe it just is. That's just the way how things work, and there's no
Yeah.
explanation for it.
No, but that's the funny thing
You
because that's the same thing that's the funny thing is that's the same thing that I was saying, the same
Yeah.
exact thing for you, where it before for me it made sense, where I was like, oh, actually, you know what I mean, like the age old question, why is there something as opposed to nothing, the philosophical question, and that's like that'll blow your fucking brain. It's like, why does this exist? Why am I making noises with my mouth and we're existing as opposed to nothing being there? And then the more I thought about the possibility of foreverness and everything, it's like I can't go back into nothingness in a way because I do exist and there is this energy. Yeah, maybe I won't. I'll never be the same Jonas and shit like that. You know what I mean?
Well,
Everything
that's
that I know, but
right.
my
Well,
energy or
energy
whatever.
that's inside of you can never be destroyed.
Yeah,
There is energy that's always so. I mean, in that sense, yeah, you do live. You do exist forever. But like I said, there's not an infinite amount of energy in the universe. There is a number on it. I mean, I'm sure it's astronomical, and our brains can't comprehend it. But there's only so many carbon molecules that exist in the universe, and it's not an infinite number.
but do we know that for sure? Because we don't know how big space is. You know what I mean? And also, we're judging it,
Billions of
and
years.
but
We
we're,
do know space.
but we're also judging it on what, eyesight? I guess we're using
Well,
our eyesight to judge it.
well, it's not. It's you're using your eyesight to look at data.
Yeah.
Your eyes can only see whatever it is, 10 miles or on that or you know um it's not 10 miles, but when they say like visibility is 10 miles, that's a whole other thing with the Earth being curved and stuff. But you look up in the sky. Well, not now because it's cloudy out, but you're looking at light that's come from hundreds of thousands or some of them millions of light years away. So I mean, you in a sense you can see really far. Obviously, you can't see detail too much at that distance, but there, as far as we know, the universe is, I think it's like 92 billion light years across.
Yeah. I think that,
And
yeah, that's what they say. Yeah.
right, yeah, it's like 92 point whatever billion light years across. Um, but the crazy thing with that is you can't see that now. You're seeing a picture of the past, which is kind of cool. So even
Oh
when you
yeah.
look at a star, you're looking at you're really time traveling. Anytime you look at anything in the
Hmm.
sky, that's not here in our atmosphere.
And
You're
all.
you're looking,
Yeah.
even close to you right now, right? We're talking live, but it's not really live. You're looking at you know a small fraction of time has already passed since I just said whatever words I just said. So I mean, it's really crazy. Even when you're in the now, everything that happens that you experience is already in the past. It's just you're talking about tiny fractions of time.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's what, you know what I mean. That's what drugs do. That's what certain
Oh,
other things do. They influence your actions that are happening now. You know what I mean? Whatever emotions that you're feeling, they're influenced by something. Like hunger. I feel hungry. It's been influenced by you not eating.
yeah, yeah.
But also, we have to make it clear too. It's like, dude, we're fucking human beings with these senses that we have, with whatever senses we have, we're trying to judge this world that doesn't make any sense at all, and we're trying to make, sense of it, but it's like we don't know
Well,
shit about it. This could be fucking crazier than we could even envision.
no, well, so that's the crazy thing, right? So we know more about like, well, I don't know if this is true. It just seems like it is, but I don't know if this is a fact or not. But it's kind of mind blowing how much we do know about space for a place we can't go to. And then there's so many things about this planet that we don't know about. Which is it's mind blowing that we know as much information about out there, and that we don't know everything about where we are.
Hmm.
Look at the depths of the oceans and shit. We don't know anything about that stuff. They say that we know more about the surface of the moon than the depths of the ocean, which is crazy. We went there once.
Yeah. But I mean, what is the knowledge that we have? We can have, you know what I mean? The knowledge that we have, I feel like it's kind of limited too. It's like we can explain things and everything, but we can't get to the point of like, why the fuck does this all exist? You know what I mean? Which is the end all questions. Where, in a way, where, like you were saying before, is I believe the same exact thing. We made up the definition of answers and explaining shit where there is no explanation. I was like, why did Hitler kill a bunch of people and get away with it? Oh, there has to be a hell because he has to be punished. No, it makes a lot more sense that there are no answers to questions. We made up
Well,
that. We made.
yeah, of course, man. I think we do make up um, answers for certain. Look, there's always an answer, but that doesn't mean that we can get it.
Yeah.
There is any question you can think of, there's an answer to it. You just might not be able to get that answer. And I don't, people are not, I don't think people are like that. People, we want to know, facts. You want to know why things are and there's a limit to that. You can't know the answer to everything.
Mhm.
I mean, shit, if you could, I mean, you'd be the most powerful person that ever existed.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people, it's not even that they want to know the answer, they just want to feel like they're right. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and it's what I think people are scared of the unknown, or what they don't know. So I you know I think sometimes people who are heavily like religiously invested, it's well, if you should act this way because you want to go to hell. Well, you don't know that there's no evidence of a hell, but just in case there is, like I think people need to be told what to do, and if somebody told you that there is no nothing, maybe that would scare too many people. But it's possible. But that shouldn't. It, it's kind of silly if you don't treat people like shit because you're afraid of going to hell. It's like, no, you shouldn't treat people like shit because
Yeah.
it's fucking do.
But also, we are, I think, religion had to exist back in the day because now we can say that because we're fucking fortunate enough to have enough food. We don't have to worry about other people being violent. That's why I don't have to, because I don't have to be in fear of my life. If I'm in my fucking tribe and I see outsiders coming, I'm assuming they're coming to take my shit and I have to be scared of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, like I said, I think a lot of that is because people need answers to things, and I'm not. I can't tell you that God doesn't exist because I don't have proof that one does or doesn't. But
Hmm.
I'm not going to live my life, worried about some invisible person watching me every time I, rub one out, and like, that's crazy. If you're going to believe all that, then like really everything, like, no, I'm not gonna live my life that way. But I can't tell somebody else that they're wrong because we really don't know, But fear of some being that why would he have like I know they say like God's an invisible thing, but we project it being like a human figure on it, which is kind of goes to prove to you even more that that's probably not the case.
No, yeah, absolutely, dude. I agree. And on top of that, they have rules and laws. you're not allowed to question it, because why? As soon as you start questioning, none of it makes sense. It's like, let's say, I love my mom, but my mom's a sinner and she's gonna go to hell forever, but I'm gonna go to heaven. How the hell can I be happy in heaven knowing my mom's gonna be in hell and being tortured? You know what I mean? When heaven's supposed to be a happy place. Like, just
Well,
like as soon as you start questioning, it starts breaking apart.
well, well, here's the thing too. It's like, when you say, your mother's a sinner, so she's going to go to hell, right? But a sin according to who? According to what? According
Yeah.
to what? Which religion? You
Yeah,
know,
exactly. It depends on which religion.
you know, cursing is a sin supposedly. So everybody who's ever dropped an F bomb should go to. No, that's kind of ridiculous.
No,
You know,
absolutely. And I feel like most of the world is, at least the American, in Europe, I'm assuming, Asia
yeah.
too. They're mostly fucking, no, they're not in the fucking cult of religion. Which,
Well, look, I think some religions can be a cult. Um, but it's funny. I used to kind of look down upon anybody who's religious. Um, More like, how could you believe, that there's a God and all that kind of shit? And it's a stupid way to think of things. But the older I've gotten, it's there's you have Catholics, which I mean that's not even religious because they literally have. I don't know. It's like, you go to church once a year and like you're supposed to be a good, like, come on, that's kind of a crock. But you have a lot of other religions where the people that practice those religions are so hardcore into that, and they won't eat this, or on this day they really like, so it takes a lot of discipline to be that devoted to a religion that's based around something that you can't prove is real.
mm-hmm.
So I mean I kind of admire that in a way. I mean, there's a lot of religions which are very strict.
No,
You know,
absolutely,
you
dude,
have to
absolutely.
sacrifice a
If it
lot
can,
for most religions, and I kind of admire having that willpower, discipline to be able to, give that kind of devotion to something that you don't even like know is real.
but also you don't know how much of it is actually like fucking true. You know what I mean? On the outside perspective, a person might be going to church and he might be a church leader, and then when you look into it, next thing you know, he forgot that the fucking floppy disks have his fucking hard drive on it, and it's BT fucking K who's running the church. You know what I mean?
Well, it's fun. I think about that all the time. Where it's, we live in, especially like with all the stuff that goes on, in the news and stuff like that. We're such a we have such a quick trigger finger when somebody fucks up. Whenever somebody makes a mistake, our first reaction, oh, that guy's a piece of shit.
Yeah,
He
it's
did this.
true.
Like, yo, to error is human, so we all fuck up. But we're the first person to judge somebody else when they fuck up. It's like, yo, we all if that's true, we're all going to hell because we all sin. There's no two ways around that. Like, that if that's the case, we sin constantly. There's nobody that doesn't.
No, absolutely. I feel like hell yeah, dude. The fucking. I mean, did you hear about the that fucking whistleblower on Facebook, which he was saying, dude? My friend
Yeah,
told me about,
too much into that. I didn't really read too much shit into that. I just heard roughly what happened, but I really haven't gone down that rabbit hole yet.
dude.
But
To me, this should be like this story that should be plastered all over America, and we should start fucking hanging these fucking scumbags for fucking treason in Times Square every hour on the dot. So basically, what the woman was saying is this: we
yeah,
know that the algorithms, whatever the hell they are, they freaking exist, meaning that they're
well,
targeted.
it
They're
was about that it was leading to girls like suicides and all that stuff, right?
no, 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 no. What it was about is that they know they know that they're pushing out content that is divisive to the country, meaning content that's like
Yeah.
BLM or the opposite of that, that'll piss you off and shit, but it'll make you engaged. And they were aware of it, And even though they were aware of it, they fucking put their fucking foot forward and they're like, this is the content that's making us the most money, so fucking push it out.
Yeah,
Even though before the story was this,
I'm completely
that
okay with freedom of
before
speech.
before no, but the story before was that they're gonna keep pushing these news story that they're pushing out these news stories and that the computer isn't aware of it. But what they're saying
Yeah,
now is that the fucking people are aware of it and they're like, no, push more fucking news articles that include like stupid hashtags and like not fake stories, real stories, but stories that'll just piss you off and that you'll only see.
yeah. Again, you know what? I'm I don't know how many people are aware of that. Yeah, I mean, you can't be on Facebook for the last 20 years and not be aware of what they do, right? Um, I don't think they should be touched at all. It's freedom of speech, man. You know what? We don't have to be on Facebook. It's not a necessity. It's not. You choose to go on there. You know what you're subjecting yourself to, and that's your decision. And you know what? I don't. You know what? I can't. I can't even shame them for making money on that. That's like that's their right. Freedom of speech is freedom of speech, even if you don't like what somebody has to say. You know.
You see, with me, I don't know. I don't agree with it because I feel like they have so much influence. They shouldn't be specifically if they are, I feel like there should be some sort of like warning label or something on it where all they're doing is they know that they're pushing out shit that is divisive. The whistleblower says they know that they're pushing out shit that's divisive, and because it's making money, that's all they're gonna show you. That's why
Yeah.
that's why you but that's why I think you see that's why you see these fucking crazy protesters, Antifa and all of those people because they're living in that internet world and they're like, no, we're under attack, all of this shit, and most of us are like, dude, we're just trying to go to fucking work.
Well, look, I mean, when it comes to those morons, half of that is they're in their 20s, so they're dumb to begin with. You know, you're a young kid and you're very easily manipulated and influenced. And you know what? People want to be a part of something, whether it's good or bad. I mean, I mean, just think about how many situations you ever been in your life where you're like, man, I can't believe I was gotten messed up in that and I just didn't see it, you know.
Yeah, that's a
So
great point, actually.
you still judge all that stuff, but it's happened to all of us. It doesn't. You
Yeah.
find the smartest person that you know, and guess what? They've been lied to and manipulated and been in a bad situation, and you're blind to it sometimes. So I get that part, but I'm not saying what they're doing is good. I'm just saying freedom of speech is freedom of speech. You know what? You should be able to say whatever kind of crazy shit you want, but I think it's kind of weird when you want to blame Facebook for that, where it's like, aren't you responsible to for your own well-being in a sense? You know, like so it's funny. I don't know, maybe it's been like 2 months now or something. I used to post on that thing all the time,
Hmm.
and it wasn't like, hey, I want to have discussions with people about anything. I would post things about, all the shit that was going on last year and this year, whatever. And it was more like, you know what? I'm not here to change anybody's mind about anything, but you should see this. This is something I think that everybody should look at, whether you like it or not. But like, and all it does is lead to people arguing over stuff, which is not. It's not like the purpose of it. Um, and I stopped like 2 months ago. It's like, you know what? I'm not going to change anybody's mind. And just because I think that, what I believe is right doesn't mean that anybody else should. And you know what? Nothing good has ever come from me, wasting my time posting that shit. It's just not worth it. It's not worth it. I don't need validation from anybody that I liked something or that I posted this or because I'm anti this or whatever like that. Those things should be private. Like the whole world should know all your business. I look at all these people on Facebook a lot where I don't know if people realize that half the time. It's like you understand your entire life is on there. Like whoever, the government, anybody. Like Like I know every meal you ate today and like everywhere you were shot. Like, isn't that kind of creepy that you would be telling that to like to the public, or that you'd want like don't you want? Isn't anything sacred in your life to you? But like I said, man, people want to feel important, and people want to be wanted, and people want to feel like they're part of something. So, as much as I'm not into that, but I can understand that. Instead of just sitting there and knocking it, like I get why people do it. It's an addiction.
Yeah.
I put up a picture of my cute dog. Let me see if did I get 20 people care? And it's like, you know what? If that's the kind of validation you need from your life, like whatever, good for you. If it makes you feel good, go ahead. Why not?
Oh yeah,
But
yeah, no, that is a great point. Something definitely to definitely think about. But I feel like I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are influenced so easily, and that's
they
what
are.
like that's scare. That's what scares me. That these because now I mean, who the hell's watching fucking TV? You know what I mean? And these companies aren't regulated. And what freaked me
Yeah.
out is when they banned Trump. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
When they banned Trump because and people were celebrating for it, even though I don't agree with like a lot of the shit Trump says or anything like that. But dude, I don't think you should be celebrating that fucking Amazon, Google, and Facebook, they all got together and they banned this guy. Like I don't need
Well,
McDonald's telling me who I should or I shouldn't listen to. You know what I mean?
that's exactly my point. Is just because you know what, just because you don't agree with somebody doesn't mean you shut them up. It's not cool to do. You know what? If everything that that guy said was so bad and so terrible and so wrong, right? Just let him say it because, right? If you're not an idiot, you can figure that out on your own. But we've turned into a society that literally it's like I'm just gonna take somebody else's word for it instead of using my brain to figure anything out. And that's that's what they want you to do. Is nobody wants you to think for yourself.
Yeah. But I think that yeah, I think that's like a lot of this society. That's that's I guess where like I'm having
It's the same
issues with.
thing. Yeah, you know what? It's the same thing too. Where you know what? I if like I was saying before, right, just because I believe certain things or because I've researched this or that or whatever, and I've come to this conclusion, doesn't mean that I'm 1,000% right. And that what if I was like right this really famous guy, and I had I don't know whatever say I had like 500 million followers, right? Like I wouldn't want other people to go, well, Brian said that this is so it must be true too. It's like, no, I don't want to. I don't like. That's what I think. I don't want
Hmm.
anybody else to think that way. If you did this, if you read all these things and went down the rabbit hole of researching this and that or whatever, and that's the conclusion you came to, great, good for you. But I mean, that's a problem that we look to too many people to just take their words for everything. Like it's nice to get people's perspective, but like I know plenty of people that live and die by everything that Joe Rogan says. It's like, why? Just because he's older and he's like famous, or whatever. Like just because he talks really well doesn't mean that everything he says is right. All the guy wants to talk about is weed and DMT half the time.
Well, it's like I feel like also the other people, the people that do listen to him, I used to listen to him like
I'm
crazy.
not
Like I
knocking
don't
him at
listen that
all.
much. No, but I'm saying it's like I don't think they have other exposures. You know what I mean? So for them, especially maybe if they're younger or they don't have anything else going on in their life, which I don't think it's healthy. But like you said, it's their freedom. But I don't think it's healthy to fucking, you know what I mean? The more people you're exposed to, the more opinions you're exposed to, the better it probably is.
Absolutely. Like I said, that I wasn't trying to like knock Rogan's show. I'm just saying as an example, like he has a very popular show, and I know a lot of people that it's like it's
Yeah, it has
like
like a cult
pulling
following.
information. And there's nothing wrong. I mean, the guy is very smart, and he has some great guests on and stuff. But it's like if that's where you get like all your information from, and you're not like getting it, you're not like following up and finding out all that stuff. Like then again, you're being lazy. You're not doing the work yourself either. But I mean, I do enjoy a show every once in a while. I mean, he does have some really cool guests on there, but like I like I say, and I know plenty of people that like just take his word for everything. Like it's a having that kind of power is scary.
Hmm. No, yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. I understand absolutely what you're saying, man.
Like you saw the stuff that happened to him the other week when he had COVID and he had the ivermectin stuff, right? You
Yeah,
saw how crazy that was, and it's like you have half this country like thinks he's a piece of crap now because they think it's his fault that people went and ate horse paste. It's like if you just literally just spent 2 minutes, you would know that that was a bunch of shit, and that's not what happened.
yeah, exactly. But that's what like I guess the news fucking decided to push out because that's what sells. So
But what's fun? I was having this talk with somebody not too long ago where we got to stop calling the news because it's not news. It's a TV show, and their job is to get ratings. They have no duty to tell you
yeah,
the truth of anything.
exactly. No, that's exactly that's what it should be called. Seriously, because that's exactly what they
But
do. That's why, dude.
but
How much better is your life? I don't know
it,
if you listen to the news at all, but I try not to listen to it at all, and I feel like I'm so much better being off of social media as much as I can and not listening to the news. I feel like I'm so much happier in my life.
I, what's funny? I got so involved with all the stuff that was going on politically and all that shit, right? Like the last couple of years, and after after January, I was like, you know what? I don't want to watch this shit crash and burn anymore. I just don't want to see it. It's fucking depressing. There's nothing you can do about it.
Hmm.
And I like tried to give it up, but it was funny. Like after a week, it's like I have no clue what's going on anymore. Even though, but like, so it's you have to know what's going on, but you can't let it like run your life.
No, yeah, dude. That's exactly how I try to try to do it. The more
You
distance.
got to be aware of things that are happening, but it shouldn't be your life that's all you do.
Yeah.
It's funny. Um, I was having a vaccine discussion with this elderly woman about a week ago, and her her big thing was, oh, like I trust Dr. Fauci, like that's the doctor I get my information from, and it's like, you know what, like instead of standing here and yelling at this woman for like saying that, it's like, you know what, I get it, like you don't have the time to go down the rabbit hole of like finding what's what on any of this stuff. So like that woman really believes that everything that guy says is true. And if I mean shit, if you've read anything, you know that that guy doesn't know his ass from his elbow half the time.
Hmm.
Um, but it's like, well, what am I gonna? This lady's not listening to me. This has already turned into a you against me thing. So it's like, well, what's the point? What's the point of even having a conversation? Because this woman's not going to listen to anybody except Dr. Fauci. It's a useless conversation. Like, I'd have a better time trying to argue with paint.
No, absolutely. No, that's how I used to feel when I was younger. And I would have like a, let's say, when I was an atheist, and I would try to have like a religious conversation with somebody who's religious. At the end of the day, it was completely useless because they believe what they believe, and I believe what I believe, and I wasted all this time arguing for no
But
reason.
the conversation should be, why do you believe what you believe? And you know what? You should be able to learn something from that. You don't have to agree with that person, but like I was saying before, where I used to be like, only weak people fucking think that there's God or whatever kind of bullshit I used to think. And but it's like, no, you know what? I've learned to appreciate the devotion that it takes to be that into you know that into a religion. That's whether I believe that or not. But like there's something that you could learn even if you don't agree with somebody. You should be able to take something away from that.
Yeah, it's a good point. What are you smoking over there? Is that medical?
No, no, no. It's just a camel.
Ah, fucking A, man.
No, no. I'll probably bring something out in a little bit.
Uh,
It's
what?
funny. Monday night we play cards at my buddy's house, and he had to he's got to stop. He's like switching jobs. So they basically told him like you got a month to sober up, and all he does is smoke weed. But so Monday night was like the last time he was going to smoke before he had to go cold, and he bought these. They're like molds, right? They're like cigar molds, but they're meant for weed. And I shit you not, dude. We rolled a half ounce into this one cigar. We smoked it on Monday night. I mean, there was probably this much left at the end. This thing was like, see this broomstick?
Yeah.
It was probably, I don't know. Like, it was probably a good,
Jesus.
like, yeah. I mean, it was this big, and there was like 6 of us smoking this fucking thing. Took us, started like 7:30 to. We were smoking that thing for about 7 hours on and off, and we finished like 90% of it.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Dude, I drove home, and I took an edible too. But at the end of the night, right, I go home, I pull up into my driveway, and I was listening to something on the radio, and I was so stoned, dude. I just fucking passed out in my car.
Jesus
I was just
Christ.
like, I don't want to smoke for like the rest of the week. I'm like, I can't believe how much shit. It was a cigar, a giant cigar worth of bud. And we smoked a half ounce between 6 guys in one. It was out of this world. My lungs hate me for it right now.
Hold on, I'll be right back. I gotta fucking take a piss. You got a story you can tell anybody or anything while I go take a piss? Anything?
God.
Or rant about something? Anything that you want? I'll be right back. The air is yours, my friend. I'll be right back.
I don't know who the fuck would want to listen to me rant about anything. Jesus. You know what? I'm gonna take a break for a second too. Hang on, I'll be right back. Fix something.
Oh, God. Dude, you there?
Yeah, I'll be sorry, man. I figured while you were out, I'd take the piss break. But
Oh, good.
I was gonna say, I'm like, I don't know who the hell would want to listen to me rant about anything. But I did, I did read an interesting article the other day. It was pretty fascinating. So apparently, the price of unvaccinated sperm has like increased by 21,000%. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
What the fuck?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't. I mean, I guess there's a lot of sperm banks out there, but
Dude, that's fucking so fucking nuts.
that's pretty crazy that people would be paying so much more for that. I guess because you don't know the effects on a newborn and stuff. Whether you have a vaccine or not. Well, I just stopped calling it a vaccine. It's a COVID shot. It's not a vaccine. But that's a whole other story. But I thought that was pretty interesting. I'm like 21,000%. I'm like, how much was sperm worth before that?
What the hell, dude? That's so crazy. Are you vaccinated yourself or no?
I'm not gonna answer. No, I'm not. I'm not vaccinated.
Are you gonna get a vaccine eventually, or you don't know?
I don't know. You know what? I'm not gonna get one because I'm told to get one. I'll tell you that. But hey, you know what? I had it recently, and I'm fine now. So if everything is good, like I have nothing to worry about right now. I have I have better immunity than anybody who's had the shot. At least for a while, for a little while. But I don't know why you would force people to take something that there hasn't been enough research on.
Yeah,
And it the funny thing is, that's the crazy thing where it's, well, if you're not taking it, then you hate people. It's like, no, 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 no. I'm like, I'm not anti-vaccines at all. I just don't understand why I would need it, especially since I just had it, you know?
I guess they just want to. I guess it's like an easy fix all. Plus, they're probably getting a lot of money. They want to make it go away, and that's the
Well,
only cure that they have for it, or the only
but that,
solution that they have for it.
but that's the
That's
problem.
untested.
It's not a cure at all. When you get people that go, oh, with the measles and all that kind of like vaccine, whatever. It's like, yeah, but that does stop you from getting it. This does not stop you from getting it. So you
Hmm.
can't call it a vaccine.
Hmm. Well, what I guess whatever we call it, because I think this shit was made like in a fucking lab in China, so it might be it's something different. You know what I mean?
Well, it's more of like, why aren't we allowed to ask questions about it? That's the crazy thing, right?
Hmm.
So it's there's you have medical people that are refusing to take it. Why aren't we listening to some of them? I want to hear what they have to say.
I don't know.
You know,
I think like maybe
if
because
a
like
nurse,
it's
yeah,
like
if
the
a nurse,
news they've been
I'm not taking that because we just don't know enough. Why would we not listen to them as well? There's, that's the problem with all this crap is it's a lot of misinformation, and you know what, like you're being forced by your government to take something that we don't have enough information on, and if you want to take it, go ahead, but I'd be damned if there's going to be a law that's going to tell me I have to. You can go fuck yourself.
No, absolutely. The only reason I took it is, like I said, I had COVID, but I have to take it for my job.
And
So, yeah, I'm
it's
taking it. And
it's
especially they passed the law in New York City that you have to have it to go
yeah, you can't
anywhere.
go anywhere.
Yeah.
Now whether that goes against your personal, but like I get it, man. Like you got a family and shit now, and like you can't just afford to be giving your job up for that. So you were forced to take it, whether you wanted to take it or not.
Hmm.
That's like some people don't realize. It's like, well, I was going to take it. I'm like, but you were forced to, just because you did it willingly. You were still forced to. You don't have you like. I don't understand why you would force anybody to do it when, especially when you can't. Like even if it came out right and it was 1,000% effective, and you could stop this, you still should not force anybody to do anything.
It's true.
That should be up to you.
No, I agree with that. And especially it's shown that even if you're vaccinated, you're still like a fucking carrier and a spreader. So,
But you're a carrier and a spreader if you're vaccinated too. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. But the amount of people that believe that that's not true is, so it's like, wait, so you think that just because you have it means you can't get it and you can't spread it? And they're like, well, not as much as you. We're like, well, that's not true.
But I think that that is what everybody's saying, that it's like if you do get it, that it's not as bad as if you never had it. But the thing is,
Well,
I
so
don't know if that's true. I never looked into it.
well,
You know what I mean?
exactly. The only way to do that would be to clone myself and then give myself it and then give myself it with the vaccine. There's no
Mm.
way to, like, how do you have a control in that study?
I mean, I guess you could look at statistics of people who never had the vaccine as of now, and the people who had it now, because then the treatment would still be the same. Back in the day, I think the death rate was a lot higher because the treatment was different. They were putting people on ventilators and shit. That's why the
Well,
death count
that
was higher.
you know how like viruses evolve too. So like obviously when it came out, it was bad. It was killing people, and it's still killing some people, but a virus has no reason to evolve to become more deadly because then it can't spread. So whenever a virus evolves, becomes less deadly because otherwise it's just killing itself off.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty amazing that like an illness like knows that it has to evolve to be less deadly, otherwise it's committing suicide, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I wonder if
I wonder when the hell
thinks,
this shit is gonna go away, man.
you know what, the crazy, I don't think it's ever going to go away.
Nah, it has to, man.
Doesn't have to. I mean, you would like it to, but you know what? Remember, everything started with 10 days, 15 days to flatten it. It's fucking 2 years later, bro. We're still here.
That's a good point, yeah.
Not but it's you know what? If somebody 2 years ago from today, right, told you all the shit that was going to happen, and you just jumped into this now, you would think it's out of this world bonkers. Now, like, this is normal to you.
Yeah.
You've been conditioned to think that this is okay. Actually, you know what? It's funny. I was going to mention before when we were talking earlier about the whole like what happens to you when you die thing. I wanted to bring this up too. This is pretty cool. I wish. Obviously, there's no way to do this, but I always thought it would be pretty cool if they made like a movie or a show about this. But I think it would be pretty cool, right? If like once you die, that you get to sit in front of this like supercomputer, right? And any kind of stat you can think of, you can look up in this computer. So, when I used to work for a major like heating company, fixing boilers, right? And I know for a fact that I've been in some like whack jobs homes. I've definitely been in like a murderer's house, a murderer's house, and like maybe I've been in a serial killer's house. Who knows? But I've been in enough. I've worked in enough messed up homes to know, like, there are answers to these weird like questions. So it would be cool if like you sit in front of this computer and go, "Oh, how many times?" You could like watch all this stuff too. You could pull anything up you want. Like, how many times if I had stepped this way, was I like this close to dying, or all these crazy things questions you can think of. But like that's it. Once you step away from that computer, that's it. You're done. But this computer gives you the answers to everything. It has an answer for everything, and it shows you all this stuff. I always thought that would be a pretty cool way to go out.
It's like a total fucking high thought right there, man.
A total what? A high
Total
thought?
high thought, yeah.
No, I mean, well, but just think about it, like, right? You doing construction, like, you ever wonder, like, how many times somebody accidentally, like, dropped a hammer and it just missed your head by like an inch, and you didn't even know it happened, or 15 minutes after you got off an elevator somewhere, the elevator crashed and everybody died. Like, if you weren't there, you didn't know that happened. But there is an answer for how many times things like that have happened. But just imagine having that power, like sitting at this supercomputer that could tell you all this stuff.
Yeah, I guess it'd be pretty crazy, but think about how many times it didn't happen. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, you could get the answer to all those things, but it's only once you die, or like,
yeah.
There's a lot of crazy stuff out there like that. Like I said, I know I've definitely been in a serial killer's home before. I had to have been. I've seen some creepy shit, man.
Like what?
When you get a feeling, you just get this feeling that something's like really wrong. I'm
Yeah.
trying to remember what town. I think it was Massapequa. I don't really remember. It might be Massapequa, North Massapequa, somewhere over there. I went in to go do a tune-up on this guy's boiler, and I don't know, the guy, he was probably in his mid-40s. He was in good shape. And as far as I could tell, it was just him in the house. And so where I was working on this guy's boiler, his oil tank was like on the complete opposite side of the basement. So I had to, when you're doing a tune-up on heat and you got to clean the oil lines out, right? So I had to go back and forth between these two rooms. So I wasn't sure where the tank was, and I kind of followed along this guy's basement, and whatever, I go in there, and I don't know, I didn't see anything. It was just, I had this creepy vibe. It was just like, I don't know. You know when your spidey sense goes off, just something was up. And then, you know, so after I finish, I'm talking to this guy, and he just says something. He says something weird to like the effect of about like killing hookers or something like. And you know, it's one thing when you make a joke with your friends, you know, like you know they're joking. You say something like that to a complete stranger, and I had already been getting those vibes from him. Like before that, I was just like, something about this guy is off, you know. And it was just one of those things where I walked out. I'm like, I'm never coming. I wrote on the thing like, never send Brian back to this fucking house, and I didn't want to explain to them why. I have no proof, but
Right.
your spidey sense, you know, has your spidey sense ever been wrong?
I don't think so.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like I'm like, you know, I worked in like crack dens and you know in the middle of fucking Brooklyn and shit,
Hmm.
and I haven't gotten vibes like that. Like it was just something about this guy. I was just like, yeah, I feel creeped out here. And then he said that, and I was just like, I'm a complete stranger, and that just like sealed the deal for me. I'm like, I'm pretty sure this guy's killed before. I just didn't want to know. I just wanted to get the fuck out of there. I've seen, dude, I've seen some weird shit, man. I was at this I was at this house in New Hyde Park, and like you know that show Hoarders.
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean I've seen a lot of that stuff, like crazy, like literally stuff piled to the ceiling. So there was an like when we pulled up to this house, I knew right away that it was going to be a weird house, and you saw like they had these like ugly puke green um, like curtains in the front window, and the house was kind of run down looking. Um, and there was like claw marks on the curtains in the front. It was just like I just knew like that this was going to be a shit house. So in the basement, I think the wife and the husband were telling me and the guy that was there that they maybe they ran a business or something. They owned a shop or somewhere. So in the basement, you know, we were working all day. I mean, you have boxes and boxes of just all this random shit. Like I forget what kind of store they ran or whatever, but I mean, literally piled to the ceiling. And so afterwards, we put the new boiler in, and they had radiators, so we had to go around the house and had to bleed the radiators out so they get heat. And you know, I go up to the main floor, and it's the same thing with the hoarders, man. So like, you know, imagine you have you know like a 10 by 10 room that's a dining room, right? They literally had just boxes of shit piled to the ceiling, and it was almost like they made a game trail that like that you could walk around in the middle of it. Like that's how much shit these people had. Um, so like I couldn't get to a lot of these radiators, and so at the you know the last thing obviously was the top story. So I'm going up the steps, and you know the claw marks that I saw on the curtains out front were also on the steps, right? And like these weren't little like house cat claw marks. I mean, these were like it looked like somebody dragged a fucking lion down the steps. And I don't remember seeing a cat in the house. I just didn't want to know. I was like, these were huge freaking claw marks. So I go up the steps and it's you know the house. It's all like wood paneling and like puke green carpet everywhere, like some shit out of the 50s, man. And going around, I go and go, you know the bathroom's disgusting. Same shit. Just can't get to any of these radiators. And I go into the last room, and I guess this is where they said that they were going to be if we needed them. And I open this door, and I shit you not, there's these two, I don't know, late 60s, maybe 70s people sitting. There's like an old school 50s, like tube TV sitting on a stack of books. Nothing else in the entire room. The room is immaculate, right? The rest of the house is like a hoarder's paradise. This room has nothing in it except two chairs, and they're sitting there in chairs with tinfoil hats on and space blankets on.
Jesus Christ.
I ain't never seen anything like that before, man.
Completely crazed.
They were absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Batshit crazy. I was literally looking around. I'm like, who the hell would drag a lion or a fucking tiger down the steps? Like, I don't even want to know where those marks came from.
Dude, this these are the places that they fucking send you to?
Oh yeah, and that's not even like the worst though. That's just like weird.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you get sent like that was a weird place. I mean, I've been to places where, so like in a nutshell, right? In Levittown, um, when when they built Levittown in the 50s, they had two different style houses. They had a cape and they had a, I don't know, slab or whatever the hell you call the other one. But so one boiler is in the kitchen and the other one, you walk in the front door and the steps go right up upstairs, and then that's the cape house, and underneath those steps is the boiler. So a lot of those houses have been redone. So now that there's a door around back, like so you would walk into the house, and right in front of you is the steps. To the right of you is the kitchen, the left is the living room, and you go around the left side of the steps, and that bring you to the hallway, and there'd be the master bedroom, and there's a bathroom back there. So now most of those houses they have a door in the back, so you can access the boiler. But originally, you had to go around the kitchen, you had to pull the fridge out of the way, and you had to crawl in this like, you had to crawl in this fucking tiny triangle that was underneath there. It sucked. Um, so I was it was a house in Levittown. I was at like that, and this guy, I think he had like 30 cats, and he didn't clean up after them at all. So I'm literally
Jesus.
working on this guy's boiler, and the cats are like sitting on the burner as I'm working on it, and I mean my allergies were going crazy. And this guy was getting upset with me because his cats were like were grossing me out. And it's not the cat's fault.
Mm-hmm.
But this guy just literally didn't take care of him. And then he winds up telling me, I think he worked for the MTA, was what he was saying, that, and he would bring all these strays home from the MTA, and he would just keep bringing them home, and like the guy had some sort of sickness. I don't think anybody like takes in 15 cats and then just doesn't take care of them. But, I mean, like that's disgusting. Like you literally walk in the house and you can just like you can taste the ammonia in the air.
Oh
That's
my
how
god, yeah,
disgusting.
hell yeah. The cat piss, the cat shit, it's horrible. I
Yeah,
can't
I,
imagine
I
that
mean,
many
I've
cats.
seen,
Fuck.
seen so much disgusting. I mean, dude, like cockroaches, fucking people that let their dogs shit all over the house and they don't clean it up. Like people really live like fucking animals, man. You really don't. You don't even like see the half of it
Yeah,
because how many homes do you really go into? You know,
absolutely.
there's a lot of disgusting stuff out there.
Yeah, it'll fucking
And
freak
it's
you
not
out.
like I'm not trying to judge anybody, but at the same time, it's like, you know what? I like, and people give you the same excuses all the time, like, "Oh, my parents just died, and we're gonna clean it." It's like, no, you're not. You're not gonna
Mm-hmm.
clean it. You haven't cleaned it out in 30 years, you know. Like, but it's just funny because they all have the same excuses. It's like, look, I don't care. I'm not here to judge you. I'm here to fix your fucking heat. Like, I really don't care. I just want to get in and get out. I do not care. You can tell they're ashamed of it sometimes. Other times they just, they're missing a few screws,
Yeah. No, but that's what it seems like. I guess on the show Hoarders, most of them they have like mental illnesses. You know what I mean? Something that they're dealing with, and like you said, like you don't see it from the outside because the outside seems clean. Hopefully.
No, what's crazy is I could drive down a block and I can tell you who's a hoarder now. I mean, I could tell you right away
Mm-hmm.
just which house it is, and it's not. It's like you can't. It's not. It's just it's different. I've been in so many of them that there's just like I can tell, and it's not always like, oh, that house is disgusting. That it's gonna look. It's not how it works. There's something. I can't put my finger on it. But when I pull up, it's like I know right away if that's gonna
Right.
be a house.
You can feel it. It's in your fucking DNA now.
Exactly. It's become a part of me.
Yeah.
Uh, there was a lady that as a tip she gave me dog treats. Me and my partner, she gave us dog treats as a gift. That was our tip. that was, I don't know why you give dog treats out to somebody. It wasn't like we were having a conversation like, oh yeah, I have a dog. That was just like, oh, thank you guys so much. Here's some dog treats. It's like, what?
Did you realize they were dog treats?
Oh yeah, she was bragging about them because she makes them herself.
Oh, nice. It's good that you
The
gave
fuck
them
am
to
I
her.
gonna?
What the fuck?
Yeah. Oh. I was hungry. I ate a few of them. They weren't bad, but that's not the. People are strange, man. I definitely learned that people are very weird. But to each their own, right?
No, absolutely.
I had actually one of the funny things that ever happened to me. So like we used to the deal with the place I worked at was, in the winter, obviously you're going to be working a lot of hours.
Yeah.
So if you work the night schedule, it was like a rotating schedule. So like every 3 weeks or every fourth week you'd be on nights. Then they couldn't schedule you to work on Sundays, which is fine. I don't want to work on Sundays, or if you did, if you worked on Sunday, you didn't have to get scheduled for nights. But so whatever. So a lot of time on nights, there's the regular guys will work late, but like after 9 o'clock, it's just the night crew for the rest of the night. So there might be 6 guys on the whole island. So a lot of times on my shift, I was the furthest guy out west, even though I'm over here. So there'd be nobody west. So I would get sent down to where you are, Brooklyn and Queens, all that. And you know how Brooklyn is. There's no parking, especially at night, because everybody's home. So I would either have to tell the customer, like, you got to make a parking spot for me, or I would double park it and leave I'd leave the hazards on and shit,
Mhm.
just because. But it was so cold. I'm down there, and a bunch of gang members basically were like trying to get me to come and fix their shit.
What the fuck?
And so I'm like, I'm here to do a job at so and so's house, or whatever. I'm like, just I'll take a look at it like after I'm done with this call. Like, okay. So I'm like, I probably shouldn't do this, but I'm like, I don't want to mess around with a bunch of like gang members, I'm like, I just want to do my job and get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
So, but from what the guy was telling me, I knew it would be simple enough to fix and get him started. So I'm like, okay, I'll do that. The guy threw me money and all that. But basically, as I pull up to this guy, he was like me a few houses down from where I was working. I'm like, yo, there's no parking here. And they're like, dude, we're gonna watch your stuff. You ain't going anywhere. Like you don't have to worry about parking. This is all, like that's their block.
Right.
But I'm down here getting these guys their heat working and shit, and I'm like thinking to someone like, this is not a good place to be. But my work van, has never been safer than it is right now,
Yeah.
because these guys need me to get their heat working. I had a bunch of gang guys like watching after my truck on their block.
Dude, that's fucking awesome.
The guy actually calls me every once in a while, and I was just like, no, I'm like, I don't live out here anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like,
Guess you did a good
I'm
job.
not going to do that. Like, you can get somebody closer to do that.
Mm-hmm.
What was that?
No, he said, dude, I guess you did a good job that he wants to keep in contact with you.
Well, I most people probably wouldn't show up at that job,
Yeah,
but
it's
I'm
true.
like, this guy, he needs his heat fixed. Like, I'm like, I don't think I'm ever going to be safer than I am right now. There's definitely plenty of guys that got freaking robbed at gunpoint, had their truck stolen and shit on that job. It's crazy. I don't miss having to do all those hours anymore. I'll tell you that.
No, I can't even fucking imagine doing that shit. Night shift, going to like random ass sketchy neighborhoods. Fuck that.
Even that never bothered me, because you're there fixing heat. People don't really bug you too much, but there's crackheads out there that are looking for a quick fix, and tools ain't cheap, so shit happens. But I've never had any of that really. But tons. I've been in tons of weird houses. I can tell you that. So what else is going on, man? How's the missus?
Pretty good. Fucking. I see her on the weekends now, cause like I said, I'm working in Coney Island and shit.
Yeah, it's tough to just travel back and forth between that every day, I'm sure.
Yeah, so I just stay over here, freaking work like an animal. Like I said, trying to do the podcast here and there, do workout, podcast, see my friends, see my family. It's like, dude, I'm fucking exhausted always.
Isn't that funny, man? Right, the older you get, you just like I know there's still 24 hours in a day. You just don't have any of the time anymore to do anything.
No, exactly. That's why it's like, dude, when I have the time to do this, that's when I fucking try to do this.
How did you even get into this? Like when yeah, I don't you don't I know you don't even have the time. So how'd you get into doing this?
It's a good question, actually. I don't even remember.
Just felt
I
like shooting the
wanted
shit.
I wanted to do like, cause I like talking with people. I felt like doing it, and I don't know. I just went with it a couple of years ago. I was like, fuck it, let me do it. Let me record my friends, me and them just shooting the shit, talking, and then I really liked it. And then especially I like doing it, like I said, with you and other friends that I have who I don't really keep in contact that much, but it's like we get to hang out. You know what I mean? In a way, even though we don't see each other, so it's like fucking beautiful. Regardless of like how many people view it or whatnot, it's not about that. It's about like, the hangout.
Yeah, no, of course. I know we're on a podcast or whatever, but like you just kind of forget about that after a few minutes.
Yeah,
Like I'm
yeah.
just that was crazy, man. The one that I saw and I jumped in. I was talking to you. Was that guy was talking about him and his mother were like in they got a ride in the cab from like a serial killer and they didn't know it until like afterwards.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's my friend Rob. Yeah, that was fucking crazy. He has a
That's
lot
insane.
of fucking weird stories, man. Yeah, growing up in Brooklyn, you'll find that out there.
Who was the guy that went? I don't remember who it was.
Rob.
No, no, I mean like the who was the serial killer that
Oh,
they were?
I don't think he ever sent me the article. I asked him to fucking find out about it, but I don't think he ever found out.
Ooh, actually, you know what? I have a good story for you. I'm gonna leave the guy's name out because I know his first name. I forget the last name, but you seen Goodfellas, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's based on a real story that like the heist or whatever. So a friend of mine, who's I'm gonna leave his name out of it, um, was dating this girl. I'm just gonna call her Jay. All right. So he was dating this girl Jay, and her father was the actual guy who pulled off that heist and actually got arrested for it. Uh, how many years ago? I don't know. In the last 8 years, I'd say
Mm-hmm.
maybe. And I was actually at this guy's house. So my buddy used to tell me all the time. He was dating this girl, and he would be like, I'm like terrified to break up with her because her father's in the mafia. And the parent, they were actually really nice people. But I went to he graduated from school. I guess he's a teacher. He graduated from school, and her parents threw him a party at the house. I remember seeing all this, and he sends me the article. It was in Newsday that the guy actually got arrested for it for the crime. But I guess that happened in the 60s or 70s. And yeah, they finally arrested him. Every time I go and look at that article again, I'm like, I can't believe that I was actually at that guy's house. It's so weird. But he wanted to break up with this girl for so long, but he was terrified that he'd wind up like buried somewhere.
Dude, hell yeah, dude, you can't. Dude, I probably feel the same exact way. Especially, dude, you don't know how you don't know how the mob guys are gonna react. You know what I mean? To disrespect or whatever the hell they consider it.
So even was even weirder. So like after they finally broke up, um, she actually hit me up like on a dating site, and I was just like, no, 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 no,
Hell
no.
no.
I want nothing to do with
Yeah.
this. And it was, I don't think, I mean, I don't really know if she was into me or not, but I think it was more to like make him jealous,
Hmm.
I just told him, I'm like, I want nothing to do with this, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the guy's name is Tommy. I forget his last name, but if you look up the guy that actually got arrested for that, that was my friend's ex-girlfriend's father.
Hmm. Dude,
I think.
we've been going at this for about hour and a half. I gotta
Yeah,
wake up super early freaking for work tomorrow. I'm fucking exhausted beyond belief. Why don't we wrap this puppy up and do it
yeah,
again
definitely. I'd
some
like
other
to
time, man?
definitely like to do it again sometime.
Any last parting words or anything?
Um, yeah, just try not to treat people like shit. I mean, that's really all I got to say.
I like that. On that note, dude, great talking to you. I'm sure I'll see you
Oh,
around.
good seeing you, man. Tell Tina I said hi.
I will. Good night, brother.
All right, I'll talk to you later, bro.
Later.